Hey guys, Michael Nash here. I have another video today. It is about Nofap. It is pretty much what it is. You guys have probably heard about it, and if you haven't, you probably will Google about it and read up on it. It does apply to both sexes. It's not something just for men. I know men are probably more guilty of it, but it's just something where I'm doing it because I want to practice restraint and discipline. And the other benefits are pretty awesome as well. Where, I'll go through a list of things and mention them. But this is the topic today. And how does it help? So basically, it helps in the way where you do get the longer you go on a streak, you do get more and more focus. And that focus kind of builds up, and you become more disciplined with other areas in your life. And the more you practice it, it's kind of like this build-up effect overall. You're not going to be perfect and completely abstain from it. It's not reasonable. But when you practice restraint, you're rewarded by it, and which equals discipline. So that's how it helps. So why am I doing it? I would say you're doing it, especially if you've abused it in your life, you're doing it out of health reasons, just the health reasons around, anything that's addictive will play a big role that will actually be detrimental to your health. Anything addictive in life that actually starts to impair your health is a bad thing. People can be mildly addicted to things, but this is the instance of people are probably more addicted to it than they think. If you couldn't go a week without it, you're probably more addicted to it, in the sense that depending on your age and other circumstances, you probably, if you can't practice that restraint and you go a bit crazy from just 2 or 3 days of not doing it, you're probably in that area of, you're probably addicted to it more than you think. So, and really why you're doing it is to help your sociability amongst the world. It makes you more sociable when you do practice it for some reason. You feel more energy. You're more positive in a general outlook to life. It really does does a weird transformation to the way you look at things and the way you talk to everyone else in the world. It's a very odd thing that you really just have to try for yourself. So how long can how long do you do it, right? You do it as long as you can. So really, the length of it that you're doing it is essentially just as long as you can do it. And so each and every time you get longer and longer in a streak, you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And the thing is, you end up learning more and more the longer you do it. So it's not like you're doing it out of no reason. You're doing it out of a disciplined sense. It's like Tim Ferriss has something about, if you want to go floss your teeth and you're not very good at flossing, you just floss one tooth at a time, and eventually you'll start flossing each and every tooth. So it's kind of like that, where you can do 3 days, and the next one you can do 4 days, the next one you might be able to do 6 days, and it will just build up more and more. And that's all you're supposed to look at it like. And it's not like something you're missing out on. It's something that you're just practicing to practice restraint and, in essence, conditioning, making yourself more conditioned, disciplined, all these good things. So the next one will be withdrawal. You will have withdrawal, especially if you abused it, and your withdrawals will probably be pretty bad depending on how long you've abused it. It's they say it's kind of like coming off hard drugs. Your brain goes through the same essentially this big drop in dopamine, and so your brain has to sit there and rewire itself, and it will be probably one of the hardest things you can do, especially if you've abused it, because essentially if you've abused it, you're essentially a drug addict, and so then your neurochemicals are running off that aspect of you every day, maybe once or twice a day, getting the fix, and that's enough to keep you going through kind of your daily life. So you're like this functional addict for doing it, and you realize you think you've always been taught that you actually probably need to do it more than you think, but I think everyone's just guilty of wanting a wank essentially, and it's that thing where you can get away with not doing it anywhere near as much as you think you have to. And you'll get to the point where you think, man, I feel better not doing it. And every time that you end up, do it, you'll feel worse off after it. The longer you go without it and then you jump back on it, you'll get a bigger and bigger kind of withdrawal from from taking such a long break from it and then jumping back on. Your hangovers they feel like they get worse and worse, until a point where you're restraining for longer periods of time where they're more reasonable to do such things. So it's up to you, when you want to do it, when you don't want to do it. And if you feel like you're doing it out of a anxiety or a stress, once you're doing it out of anxiety and stress, those are probably bad combinations, because then you're just masking those things, and you want to be exposing yourself to those things so you can take those challenges on and deal with them head on. So the improved mood and sociability is a big one. So improved mood and sociability is huge. You have a really bright outlook on things. You're way more positive. The bubbly and all that type of thing, where you're essentially, you feel like you're kind of, you're on kind of maybe caffeine all the time, but not with the jitteriness of caffeine. So it's one of those things where you just have to try it, and you get so much more energy, to the point that I've pretty much almost quit caffeine altogether and reserved that for the times I actually do need it. And it's one of those things where you don't know until you try it. So what I suggest is try it out. You got nothing to lose except exactly what you got to lose, but you should really just give it a shot. And I'll leave it there with you guys. I'm sure you know all about this subject. And just give it a shot. And until next time, guys, like and subscribe if you like this content. And Mike out.